Welcome to Daily Gossip. You will get daily Hollywood updates here. And yes, that includes the drama and glory unfolding in the world of sports celebrities too. Remember to subscribe for the latest videos. Today, we're diving deep into a story that blends hope, hustle, and a powerful comeback. Adrian Houser, a name you might have heard echoing through the dugouts of Milwaukee, New York, and now the Chicago White Sox. When the White Sox announced their signing of Adrian Houser to a one-year, $1.35 million deal, the baseball world raised its eyebrows. Not out of disbelief, but out of quiet curiosity. Could this journeyman pitcher, this man once hailed as a rotation cornerstone, reignite his career on a team starving for answers and searching for stability? Could a player whose ERA ballooned to near 6 in his final Mets season really be the savior for a rotation in disarray? These aren't just statistical questions. They are questions about resilience, identity, and the very soul of a player trying to find his place in the storm. Adrian Houser's journey through Major League Baseball has been anything but a straight line. Drafted by the Astros back in 2011, his early years were filled with the raw promise of a power arm, but mired by injuries, inconsistency, and the uphill grind of minor league ball. He was traded to the Brewers in the blockbuster Carlos Gomez deal in 2015, a move that changed the trajectory of his career and arguably his life. The Brewers believed in his potential, and by 2019, Houser began to make good on that belief, flashing moments of brilliance with his sinker-heavy arsenal and ground ball magic. But it was 2021 that solidified Houser's name in baseball circles. That season, he posted a sterling 3.22 ERA over 142.1 innings, giving the Brewers critical depth behind their aces. He was never flashy. He didn't light up radar guns with triple-digit heat or rack up strikeouts like a video game character, but he was effective, consistent, and gutsy. He pitched like a man with something to prove, and fans began to see him not just as a placeholder in the rotation, but a real contributor. Yet as quickly as he rose, the momentum shifted. Injuries chipped away at his rhythm. Mechanics faltered. Confidence, once a quiet fire beneath the surface, wavered. By the time he landed with the New York Mets in 2024, he was no longer that dependable mid-rotation workhorse. His ERA soared to 5.84, and he struggled to command the strike zone. It wasn't just a professional struggle, it was a deeply personal one. Houser wasn't just trying to save his career. He was fighting to stay relevant in a league that quickly forgets those who stumble. When the Mets let him go, many assumed he'd quietly fade into minor league obscurity. But that's not how Adrian Houser works. Instead of quitting, he signed with the Texas Rangers AAA affiliate, the Rock Express, grinding away in the minors with a 5.03 ERA over 39.1 innings. Those numbers didn't leap off the page, but for those paying attention, there was more beneath the surface. Houser was adjusting, tinkering, and more importantly, he was battling, and the White Sox were watching. Chicago's 2025 season has been defined by turmoil. A rotation that once held promise had crumbled under the weight of injuries, inconsistencies, and miscalculations. The Sox weren't just searching for talent, they were searching for someone to believe in, someone who had walked through fire and come out with scars and strength. They found that in Adrian Houser. The call came, the deal was signed. 1 year, $1.35 million, not a king's ransom, but a lifeline. And just like that, Adrian Houser was a White Sox pitcher. He wasted no time. In his debut against the Seattle Mariners, Houser delivered 6 scoreless innings, leading the White Sox to a narrow but mighty 1-0 victory. It wasn't just a win, it was a statement. Here was a man who had spent the past year fighting his way out of irrelevance, now standing tall on a major league mound again, painting corners, inducing soft contact, and leading by example. The stadium buzzed not with hype, but with hope. And in that moment, fans weren't just cheering for a box score. They were cheering for a story, a comeback, a rebirth. But what makes Adrian Houser's story resonate so deeply is not just the baseball stats. It's the humanity underneath. He's the kind of player who shows up early, stays late, takes nothing for granted. He's seen both the top and bottom of this unforgiving sport. He knows what it's like to be celebrated and forgotten. He knows what it's like to feel like the game is slipping away. And maybe, just maybe, that's why this signing means so much to the White Sox. Because this isn't just about bolstering a pitching staff. It's about injecting a clubhouse with someone who knows what real fight looks like. It's about adding a player who understands that success isn't given. It's clawed from the jaws of failure. And in a league where youth and upside often dominate the conversation, there's something powerfully grounding about a veteran who knows exactly what it takes to stay. It wasn't all smooth sailing. The journey from Texas to Chicago wasn't paved in gold. It was full of doubt, questions. Would his stuff hold up? Could he go deep into games? Was the velocity still there? But when Houser took the mound in that White Sox uniform, all of those doubts were silenced, at least for a night. And that night was enough to remind everyone what this game is really about. Moments, redemption, the roar of a crowd that had no idea they were witnessing the return of a man who almost lost it all. White Sox management has made it clear, Houser wasn't just a desperation signing. They believe he can be part of the solution. And in designating Yoendris Gomez for assignment to make room on the roster, they made a real decision. They chose experience. They chose the story. They chose grit. As the season unfolds, there will be pressure. There always is. Houser will be asked to eat innings, anchor a shaky rotation, and lead by example. But he's been preparing for this his whole career. And now in Chicago, he has a chance not just to revive his career, but to inspire an entire franchise. Fans are already buying in. Social media lit up after his debut. Praises, memes, emotional messages. That's the Houser we missed. What a comeback. Pitching with heart. The baseball world loves a good redemption arc. And Adrian Houser is delivering one pitch at a time. Let's not forget that Houser's success also signals something much bigger. The White Sox aren't done. Despite a rocky start to the season, the signing shows they're still fighting, still rebuilding, still hoping, in a division that's wide open, with rivals faltering and opportunity knocking. Players like Houser can make the difference between a lost season and a meaningful run. And for Houser, this isn't just about 2025. This is about legacy, about showing his critics, and maybe even himself, that he still belongs, that he's still got something left in the tank, that even after setbacks and struggles, the game still has room for heart, hustle, and redemption. Behind the scenes, teammates are reportedly rallying around him. Coaches praise his work ethic. Younger pitchers are learning from his resilience. There's an energy building, not just in the stands, but in the clubhouse. And it all traces back to a decision made, not in a high-profile trade deadline moment, or a splashy free agent signing, but in a quiet moment when the White Sox said, "Let's give him a shot," and Adrian Houser said, "Watch me. If this trajectory holds, he could become a symbol for what the White Sox are trying to build. A team that's not perfect, not flashy, but full of fight. A team that doesn't give up on its players or itself. So the next time you see Adrian Houser take the mound, remember the journey. Remember the pain, the grind, the AAA buses, the waiver wires. Remember the long road back, because what you're seeing now isn't just a pitcher. It's a man who refused to quit. And in doing so, he just might have changed everything. Thank you for watching Daily Gossip. If Adrian Houser's journey inspired you like it did us, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more emotional and dramatic stories from the world of sports and entertainment. Houser's comeback is far from over, and you can bet we'll be following every pitch. Until next time, stay inspired, stay curious, and keep believing in the power of second chances.